Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be looking at a band that I have heard of before, and I believe I have heard some of their music, I just don't remember. We're going to be looking at Candlemass. Now obviously anybody who's grown up with heavy metal from like the 70s, 80s, 90s onwards would surely have heard of Candlemass. You know, even if they've not heard any of their music, they must surely have heard of them. And now, like I said, I've probably heard them before. I know I actually have a Candlemass album from 1987, Nightfall, I think. But I think that's an album that I was given when I was DJing heavy metal nights at a pub I was working at. And a friend of mine gave me a whole bunch of CDs to put on my computer so people could pick and choose what music they wanted to listen to. But I don't think I've ever actually listened to the album. But I'm sure I must have heard some of their music at some point. Though I couldn't honestly tell you anything about them. So I did a bit of research. And most people probably know this, but we'll talk about it anyway. So Candlemass is a Swedish epic doom metal band. So it's a doom metal band, and everybody knows I love doom metal. Interesting. Established in Stockholm in 1984, when I was just 4 years old, by bassist, songwriter and bandleader Leif Edling and drummer Mats Ekström. The band had a defining influence on doom metal, along with Pentagram, Saint Vitus, and Trouble. Candlemass has been referred to as one of the big four of doom metal. After releasing 5 full-length albums and touring extensively throughout the 1980s and early 90s, Candlemass disbanded in 1994, but they reunited 3 years later after breaking up again in 2002. Candlemass then reformed in 2004 and have continued to record and perform since. So there we go. Now, today we're going to be looking at a track called Angel Battle. Sounds epic. I have the lyrics here. They do come from Genius though, and as we have discovered from previous videos, Genius lyrics can be a little bit unreliable, but we shall see. So I'm not entirely sure what to expect. I mean, obviously I've got a little bit of a vague idea given that they are a doom metal band. But yeah, we'll jump into this and see what we've got. So Angel Battle by Candlemass. Let's have a look.
saw the hordes of heaven and the justice and noble. Victorian swagger bringing destruction to souls. Beast and mortal, and a last city felt with thunderbolt. Passed from the eyes of the angels, who relentlessly and worthy walked the face of the earth. Only erase what was left of humankind. And that was my dream.
Well, there you go. Angel Battle by Candlemass. Now, excuse me. It's very intriguing, because I wouldn't necessarily have classified this as doom metal. I mean, back when they formed, back in like the 80s, maybe this was what doom metal was. But, you know, the actual music itself sounds somewhat akin to what Black Sabbath was back in the day. And the vocal performance is very power metal inspired, I would say. You know, it's got more of a power metal sound to it than I would say a doom metal sound. And musically, it just sounds like heavy metal, you know, early heavy metal rather than doom itself. I mean, obviously it has a sort of slow, almost chugging sort of tempo to it, which, you know, one would associate with doom metal. But like I said, this could be what doom metal was back in the 80s. I don't know. No, I quite liked it. I can't say it was like brilliant, and I think that's mostly down to the vocal style, because whilst I don't mind sort of power metal and that sort of thing, it's not really a style of vocal that I go out of my way to listen to. You know, every now and then I might get the urge to listen to something like Manowar or Dragon Force, you know, that sort of thing. And this had very much that sort of sound vocally to it. But it's not something I actively seek to listen to, unless I'm in the right mood for it, if that makes sense. But that being said, you know, it still wasn't a bad piece of music. And, you know, the music video, it's another one of those ones done in that very specific style, which was, there was a big craze of doing videos in that style about two years ago, I think it was. Because when Cellar Darling released their last album, you know, all of the videos had that sort of style on it. I think Paradise Lost did one in that style. You know, there were several bands, and I even covered them on this channel, that did music videos in that very specific art style. Even November's Doom, in fact. You know, so I like those videos because I find them intriguing. And the art style, I think, is just... I think it's stunning. It's very simple, but it's stunning. It's very effective. Now, the actual song itself, Angel Battle, seems to be talking about Armageddon, or something akin to that. There's a specific line in there which makes me believe that, but then most of the lines seem to allude to it as well. And whilst the music video did indeed have the lyrics on screen, we'll still talk about them anyway, because that's my thing. Nobody else seems to do it, so I'm not going to stop doing it. So it goes, happened on a Sunday. Grace from the heavens. They had swords. They had fire. They had stars in their eyes. Hundreds of seraphs on the killing field. I hear them sing. Horns and trumpets. Lasers and shields. God is grim. So already he's laying out this idea that there's a big battle. The seraphs. They're the multiple winged angels, aren't they? I believe. I could be wrong. I think seraphs have like 6 wings or something like that. Anyway, I can hear them saying horns and trumpets. They're a common element associated with, with war for a start, and there's also the what am I thinking of here? There's the horns that signify the end of the world, and I can't think for the life of me what they're called, but you know what I mean. I know you do. So yeah, where it came up with lasers, I'm not entirely sure, but let's go with it anyway. So hundreds of seraphs on the killing fields. Horns and trumpets, lasers and shields. God is grim, and this I couldn't agree with more. Because I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again because everybody's got this idea that God is the be-all and end-all of goodness. Everybody thinks he's loving, he's kind, that he saves people, that he loves everybody. Yet God is the most violent and ruthless person in the entirety of the Bible. God, throughout the Bible, killed something like 10.3 million people, I think it was. And Satan, in the entirety of the Bible, killed 10. God drowned the entire planet. He flooded the entire planet to wipe it clean and start again. Because he wasn't happy with the fact that it wasn't going the way he wanted. So he committed global genocide because he was pissed off that we had free will. Yeah, God's grim. He kills hundreds and thousands and millions of people. And we get told that he's all loving. He cares about everyone and he is the epitome of goodness. Really? Anyway. It goes into what I can only assume to be the chorus. Angel battle. Saints with blood on their swords. Angel battle. The war to end all wars. So again, the war to end all wars once again leads you towards the idea of Armageddon. Black wings and doves. Grace and devotion. Death from above. Poetry in motion. Now this line specifically leads me towards the sort of Armageddon thing. 7 trumpets on the 7th day, wrath in the clouds. I see the solemn angel and the white ones they slay, the presence of God. So 7 trumpets on the 7th day. This is obviously referring to like the 7 seals. Every seal that's broken, a trumpet sounded, and this symbolised a judgment on mankind. And the judgments got progressively more severe. So like by the time they broke the 7th seal, the 7th trumpet sounded, the 7th judgment on earth came about, and it was the worst one, which again leads you to believe it's Armageddon. So yeah, and the thing is, in the lyrics it says the vengeance of God. On the video, he said presence of God. So, yeah. But again, this again leads to God being grim. He sees it perfectly fine to completely wipe out all of humanity because it's not going the way he wants to. That's like getting an ant farm, setting it all up, watching the ants create this amazing little building or, this little maze of tunnels, and then killing them all because they didn't make the tunnels the way you wanted them to. You know, God is not a nice person, despite what people might want you to believe. He's an asshole. Celestial battle, turquoise deadly rays. Put your arms around me this very day. Heavenly Lord, your white army came. All that you gave, you took it away. Again, you know, Heavenly Lord, your white army came. All that you gave, you took it away. So, God brought his angels from heaven to the earth, unleashed his vengeance. You know, he gave us all life, he gave us all free. Or he didn't give us freedom, actually. He wanted us to be mindless drones and slaves of Satan. They gave us free will. You know, God created the earth, allegedly, you know, and he gave us life. And now he's going, nope, you're not doing it right, so I'm going to take it away. I'm going to kill you all and start again. You can't just press Control Alt and Delete on the earth. I saw the hoods of heaven, majestic and noble, Victorian swagger, bringing destruction to souls, beast and mortal, and the last city fell, with thunderbolts cast from the eyes of the angels, who relentless and worthy walked the face of the earth, only to erase what was left of humankind, and that was my dream. And, you know, that last bit there was actually spoken at the end of the video. So, I saw hordes of heaven, majestic and noble, you know. So he saw all these angels come to earth, you know, all these majestic, righteous, allegedly, people, angels, you know, these amazingly beautiful creatures come down from earth, all these ones that are supposed to be like the bringers of light and the bearers of love and, you know, compassion. You know, they came to earth and went, right, he gave you life, you're doing it wrong, so we're going to kill you all. And that's what they did. You know, so again, you know, it sort of leads to Armageddon. But it says, and this was my dream. So this is like someone foreseeing possibly the coming of Armageddon, maybe. But yeah, you know, so I've said many, many times, I like it when songs tell stories. And obviously this one sort of is very much inspired by biblical events and that sort of thing, you know, and everybody knows I absolutely hate religion. I absolutely despise religion. But this does sort of point out, this song does kind of point out, you know, that it's a bit hypocritical, you know, God being, you know, put forth as this all-loving creature of, you know, the epitome of goodness, whereas in actual fact he's a really spiteful, horrible thing. I'm not going to call him well, he's an entity, isn't he? Well, allegedly, you know. So, you know, they're actually pointing out, you know, the fact that this creature who is supposed to be the epitome of all good is not actually as good as people seem to think he is. You know, because, like I said, you know, he killed tens of millions of people, and the apparent epitome of everything evil killed a grand total of 10. You know, this guy, you know, every time things don't go the way he wants to, he just commits global genocide to start all over again, and allegedly saves his favourite. You know, so yeah, it's quite an interesting song, and you know, musically I quite liked it. Vocally, like I said, I'm not overly fond of that vocal style. You know, I can listen to it, you know, I don't mind it, but it's the sort of thing I have to be in the right mood for. So, you know, it was a decent piece of music, it was a decent song, and like I said, I like the video because I really do love that art style that was used. So, yeah, interesting. And this is another band where I'm probably going to get loads of people going, oh, you should listen to this, you should listen to this. And by all means, please do. Suggest other songs by this band. Because, you know, like I said, I'm sure I've heard music by them before. I just don't necessarily recall listening to it. And like I say, I've got an album by them, but I don't think I've ever... Excuse me. I've got to breathe when I'm talking. You know, I can't necessarily remember ever actually listening to that album, if I ever have, you know, so I'd be interesting to find what tracks people think are like the best tracks from this band, But yeah, I don't know what else I can really say on that, so I'll leave that as it is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and a subscribe, because it really would help the channel out. I mean, as it stands at the moment, only about 10% of the people watching my videos are actually subscribed. And, it really sort of plays hell with the videos that I'm putting out, because, I'm putting out videos, I'm spending all this time recording them and editing them and doing what have you with them. And because people aren't liking them, because people aren't subscribing, no one's watching them. They're not getting suggested to anybody, and even people who might have subscribed to the channel but haven't clicked the bell, they're not getting notified that my videos are coming out or something like that. So it really would help me out. I mean, it takes 2 seconds, and it doesn't cost you anything at the end of the day, so it really would help the channel out if you could like and subscribe. But yeah, that's all I've got to say on that, so thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Grace and devotion, death from above.